an income tax if it's not a penalty on those on that work and savings. So a 67% income tax increase, both personal and corporate. There's an expansion of what's covered under the sales tax, and it would go to some services. And then for the first time ever, the government wants to tax pensions in Illinois over $75,000. The so-called swap, the property tax to income tax, they say that they're going to give us property tax relief. And I don't want to complicate what I'm saying by too many numbers, but it's kind of the promise for property tax relief is similar to the broken commitments of the lottery's going to go to education, never saw it. The tollways are going to be freeways, never saw it. And now we're going to get property tax relief in exchange for 67% increase in our income tax. In the bill itself, it says $1.5 billion to $2 billion of property tax relief to us. Okay, they claim that that's a 25% property tax relief. Okay, but we collect between 20 and $23 billion of property tax in Illinois. So $2 billion over $20 billion isn't 25%. I mean, people in this audience know because you got to sign checks, that's 10%. But the really bad thing about the bill is that they use 2003 as the base year. I would ask, is anybody's property tax assessment not gone up 10% in the last 4 years, from 2003 to 2007? 10% increase. If it has gone up by more than that, you get nothing out of this except for the tax increases on income and sales. So I think that it's really important that we hold the coalition together. You never know what this is going to morph into in the next 6 weeks that we're in legislation. But looking at a standing room only crowd tonight of people who have great influence in their families, in their businesses, in their communities, I would say that it's equivalent to, in a way, to, I understand that Admiral Hirohito, as he was steaming away from Pearl Harbor, after they had nailed the folks who were kind of calm and back in at Pearl Harbor, bombed them, and as he's steaming away, he said, we should never have awakened the sleeping dragon. And I think that they have awakened us to what it is that they're trying to do. And they've painted a stark contrast between those who believe that government is the solution for everything and the rest of us who feel that our government is supposed to serve us, it's supposed to be limited. So I think that gross receipts tax is a sales tax on steroids. It's just a matter that all of us are going to collect it as business owners, but you know that the consumers are going to pay for it. As I said before, not only will I vote no, I'll vote heck no. Jim will vote hell no. I think that it's important that we get written commitments from the area legislators. Linda Holmes is new from this area into the legislature. We need a written commitment that she's a no vote. I think it's important up in Elgin, in the northern end of the Fox Valley, that we get a written commitment for Mike Nolan saying that he is a no vote on this. And I think that it's important that you write letters to the editor. You know, when we talk among ourselves, we all agree with each other. The real challenge here is to spread the word to more folks. And then just finally, just like to conclude by today's Sun-Times on the opinion page, on the editorial page, the headline was, "Governor needs new idea and he needs it now." And that's why I say that there's another phase that comes after this. But it says, there's a reason why Governor Blagojevich is barnstorming the state, trying to drum up public support for his proposed new gross receipts tax on businesses. It's because his idea is going nowhere in Springfield. It's not just that Republicans and business groups are raising a ruckus. Blagojevich can't even get key Democrats on board. Daley, Quinn, Hines, and Jesse Jackson are among those who have argued that it's the wrong approach. And so they go on to say, it's time to find Plan B. I think that we don't like Plan A, you're certainly not going to like Plan B. So thanks very much. Any questions? Yes, sir. It's good to see you tonight. Thank you for coming.
I'm a manufacturer here in St. Charles. biggest problem, actually two problems, you know, and I think the governor recognizes that there are problems in both healthcare and education, but that's about as far as it goes. You know, the solutions are not very good. But you know, we're investing here in Illinois, and you know, our biggest challenge is trying to find people with the skills that just allows them to enter into our high-tech manufacturing environment. You know, the average manufacturing job in Illinois pays $51,000, and we can't find 50% of the young people coming in to our facility to apply for entry-level work cannot do 8th grade level math. And you know, I think we need to go on the offense and come up with some solutions ourselves out of this on both healthcare and education, because it's deplorable the way money is being wasted in both of those systems. And you know, it's a you know, so I recommend that, and I think it's also evident that we are you know, this is becoming more and more an unfavorable environment for business in the state of Illinois. And a good example is a bill that just passed in the Senate, S-1226, that makes liability cases much more favorable to the plaintiff's attorney in getting settlements. And if you could just comment on those,
Yes.
I'd appreciate it.
First of all, that was 1296, and it was passed by the ruling majority. I voted no on that bill, and you're right, it just makes it one bit harder to do business in Illinois. Certainly what you're saying is right, that some of the alternative proposals need to be put in place. Not the topic of tonight's, but you know that to get more manufacturing jobs and to get people ready to compete in a global economy, the way to go about that is not to increase the gross receipts tax from 0.5 to 0.85, which was a 70% increase from where they started on. That's going in the wrong direction. All this talk about education reform right now in Springfield is all about money. Where I come from, where you come from, it's supposed to be about kids and about the improvements we can do in our schools to help our kids prosper and achieve academically. The idea, and this lady asked a good question, how is the government going to help me with health care by increasing the tax, putting a huge 2% tax burden on every dollar that comes in the front door? Actually, I think that built into this proposal, because they say that anyone who doesn't spend more than 4% has to pay this 3% payroll tax I mean, this is in addition to the gross receipts tax. But, you know, there are going to be a lot of businesses that say, yeah, I'm paying 4 to 5% for the hospitalization for my employees as I did in my small accounting practice. But why should I pay that? Why don't I just let Rob Blagojevich do it? Now, how well off are we going to be when the government takes over what all of us should be doing in our own business, if we can, in our own businesses? So you're absolutely right.
The governor's claiming job growth in Illinois, but where he's really creating job growth in the states around Illinois that have more counties.
That's right. They say that the only business that's going to prosper in Illinois after this goes through, if it does go through, are the moving businesses. Bob Boniface, our host. Thank you very much, Bob, for opening your
create a few signs over here. I would ask all of you to take a look at this. Why don't you hold one of those big things up? We should have them outside of every business in the state. My question to you is, what do we do tomorrow morning? We got a couple of hundred people in here, and anytime you hear people speak and public speaking and they rev you up, boy, you leave here all charged up and you go home and sleep, and tomorrow you got tigers at your tail and you forget about it. Where's the marching orders? What do we do tomorrow morning?
I think that it's a very good question, Bob. I think that the first thing we do is very briefly boil down what the negative is behind gross receipts tax. What it will do to harm our business. I would share that with the people who work with me on my team. Number two, letters and telephone calls, and an insistence that I get a phone call back from the people who work for me. I would want a phone call back from the state senators who work for me and the state representative, and then get a written commitment that they are opposed. And then I would send off a letter to the editor to describe how it would damage my business. And I would get ready for what the second phase is going to be, because I think it's House Bill 750 coming at us.